Who are considered the Jews today? Most people considered Jewish today can trace their identity to three major groups: Ashkenazi Jews from Central and Eastern Europe, Sephardic Jews from Spain, Portugal, North Africa, and the Middle East, Mizrahi Jews from the Middle East, Persia, Iran, and parts of North Africa. Sounds like a bunch of different communities that we can all reliably say are very close and people who can all possibly be related. I can confidently say that many of us know kind of our heritage. We know who our parents are, where they say they came from, and if we were lucky enough, we have great-grandparents or grandparents that pass down traditions and let us know where their parents came from. For me, as many people saw, I am mixed up of many different types of ethnicities, and I have many genetic markers that identify me as, even as you see, some Ashkenazi Jew. And the Jewish people can do the same. They can trace their lineage, and with things like 23andMe, Ancestry, these different genome mapping that people are doing, people can really accurately depict who the real descendants of Jews, or the 12 sons of Jacob, are. So the thing is that these groups, all three of them, have different histories, languages, and even genetic markers, but they all identify as part of the Jewish people through either their ancestry or religious traditions. Like I said, when you have family members, you can kind of gain an understanding of where you came from. I grew up knowing my mom was Spanish, and she said her great-grandfather was from Spain, and so on and so forth. So what tribes did they come from? Historically, ancient Israel had 12 tribes, the descendants of the 12 sons of Jacob, Israel. Now, you guys know him as Jacob, but God changed his name to Israel. If you're a Bible reader, you know the story of Jacob and Esau, his brother, and you know what happened there. And so a lot of the Bible, when you really think about it, is made up of stories of sibling rivalries, people making bad decisions, right, to do things that were detestable to God and getting wiped out, tribes separating and moving around, and so on and so forth. And we're going to get into that. But the only reason I mentioned Jacob is an important person in the Bible. His name again was changed to Israel. And who do we identify as mostly the Jewish people today? Israel. We say, oh, all the Jews are in Israel, when that is simply not true. After wars, captivity, exile, only a few tribes can clearly be traceable today. So what happened to the Jews, and where are they now? Well, there's Judah, the main tribe, the main surviving tribe after the Babylonian exile. Most Jews today identify as descendants of Judah. And then you have Benjamin, the smaller tribe, Judah's territory, also considered part of modern Jewish ancestry. And Levi. Who are the Levites? They're a priestly tribe, not given land, but temple duties. Some Jews still trace themselves as Levites or Kohanim priests. What about the other 10 tribes, known as the lost tribes of Israel? These tribes were conquered by Assyria around 722 BCE and scattered. Where did they scatter to? Now, I just came across a video of a guy. He has a channel called Expedition Bible, and I would recommend my viewers watch him if they're interested in learning about the Bible in a way that's a little bit more research-based, archaeologically based, scientific based. Because as many of us know, when you're reading the Bible, it's really hard to prove some of these stories without some sort of what happened to people and where they went. And yes, we can see all of that. We can see all of that with what Joel Kramer has done with his channel on Expedition Bible. He shows the actual mapping of where people went. So those 10 lost tribes were never lost. What happened was when Assyrian Empire, which was the greatest at the time, conquered all of Israel. So Jerusalem was the only area Sennacherib did not invade and actually win the battle. As a matter of fact, God intervened, and overnight all of his army men were dead the next morning when they tried to sack Jerusalem. So Jerusalem did not get sacked by Assyrians. And that's where I believe all the tribes that were, and the northern tribes, they were then absorbed and they went down to where Judah is, which is where Jerusalem is. So it doesn't mean that they're completely annihilated and lost. It just means that they've been absorbed into other cultures. Some people today believe descendants may still exist in places like Ethiopia, Beta Israel, Africa, the Igbo of Nigeria, India, the Nia Menashi, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Pathans or the Pashtuns, Native American, and other global communities. Modern genetics studies, they suggest that the Ashkenazi, Sephardi, and Mizrahi Jews share Middle Eastern roots. Levites and Kohanim often have specific Y DNA markers, and some African, Indian, and other groups show partial Israelite ancestry. But mixing with local populations make it complex. Right? It's really hard. So who are the real Jews today from a biblical and historical and modern view? I wanted to talk about the purest form of it. They would be coming from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So the term Jew itself comes from the word Judah, Yehudi. Other tribes scattered, absorbed, or lost, but may resurface over time. Many claim fulfillment of prophecy. If you really think about the land of Judah and what happened during the different periods where Jews were consistently being uprooted and kicked off the land, many of those people went and they dispersed into other areas. So today, I think tracing real genetic lineage to who the Jews are would be dependent on doing DNA genetic testing, because many people can claim to be Jewish today, for religious reasons. There's people that change and become Jewish by, changing their religion. But does it make them actually the chosen people or Jewish? If you wanted to understand, like I said, the major three groups, that would be it, is your three groups that I've mentioned. And I am looking forward to hearing your thoughts and your beliefs, but this is what I've surmised. And have a great day. Think for yourself.